Living it up, beachside right now, a PD3. I wouldn't have thought that I would be interviewing you right now, but I knew that this Misfits situation could mean anything could happen. You were at the inaugural CJI, and now Craig wanted you to be a part of CJI too. So what's going on, man?
Yeah, it's been great. I'm happy to reconnect, and it looks like we're back in business. So maybe we'll be able to get another epic interview out of me too afterwards.
I definitely think it was the iconic chant that you started that really did it for Craig. I think he was in the background, someone was backstage, and the whole Thomas and Mack Center was going along with it. So, can you tell me about what was going on in your head? You had just got done competing, and I served you up an alley oop, and you just take it and ran with it.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. When your girl serves you up that alley oop like that, you got to dunk that shit. So that's what we did, and I like to think my performance outweighed the call out. Oh yeah, I'm beachside. I'm trying to show off the view from here, but
Oh
you
no.
know, we when I'm ready, I'm healthy and in shape, I can compete with the best. So you have to be able to perform, but you have to be a showman too. You have to get the crowd involved. You have to be, an entertainer. That's what the CJI is about. Obviously, the jujitsu world class is entertaining, but the uh the antics too are just as entertaining. So, if we really want to move the dial and make sport like jujitsu, grappling mainstream and get us athletes paid, we have to do our job. So it's it didn't really feel like anything crazy in the heat of the moment, and then it kind of goes viral after. And but even Gordon appreciated it. Even he DM'd me, fair play, buddy, well done. He thought it was funny. Like the dude has a sense of humor, and you know, despite the beef between Craig and Jordan, I actually like Craig and Gordon. I actually like both of them. So
And it was definitely your performance that got all the attention. I was just pulling your chain saying that it was the aftermath,
thank
but
you, thank you.
it was funny when you were saying that, like, you were frustrated because Luke Rockhold wasn't really taking things seriously. He's trying to tag in Demetrius Johnson, and there's a lot of money on the line, and you came there with a chip on your shoulder. Was part of the fact that you were so hungry to be as aggressive as you were because in the past people had maybe been skeptical about how hard you were training? Or was it just, okay, this is a completely new opportunity in jujitsu. I got to make this jujitsu world know me in the right sense?
Great question. Yeah. It's $1 million incentive. So I trained my ass off like I have never had $1 million incentive before because I had it. Now, with that being said, to your point, I'm a white belt at the time. You know what I mean? Literally, I think I'm beating Adam Bradley because I'm sitting in his guard, not getting swept or submitted. And I heard that my conditioning was supposed to be a big factor and that the 15 minutes was too long for my gas tank. And, I had a month in Dubai with Hamzat and then another 6 weeks with Wagner and Cyborg at Fight Sports. So I went in there well prepared, ready to show my gas tank. And that's what I did against Luke. And I feel like he felt that. And I felt like he was more of the favorite. He had been training with Craig. He's a black belt. He's a former UFC champ. The accolades and just the vibe of the tournament, it was all favoring him. So then once we get into the actual match, and now Buddy wants to start kickboxing or slapping Demetrius Johnson's hands, it's like an ironic thing. When somebody loses in wrestling, they want to box. When somebody loses in boxing, they want to wrestle. So, you know, um, I feel like maybe, yeah, I did take it a little personally and I had a chip on my shoulder, but none of that's going to change this CJI too. I'm here to be, the champion. I want to smash everybody in this minus 99 kilogram. I'm still a little unfamiliar with the whole format and the rule set, but I'm trying to be the best prepared I can be, and now obviously I'm not a white belt anymore neither.
Yeah, I can see how you're definitely unfamiliar with maybe the rules. I mean, we didn't even know for sure that you were going to be part of CJI too, but we're so happy that we have a major announcement to make. So, Pat Downey, whose team are you going to be on? Where do you fit in all of this?
Yes, ma'am. Minus 99 kilograms, American Misfits. Coached by Saunders, Greg Saunders up at Standard, which is conveniently in Maryland. So hopefully we get to build some rapport before maybe get a training camp in once our whole team is made final. But like I said, this is just an extension of my training. I've been booked. I'm back in demand. Every weekend I'm either teaching or competing. So this really gives me the the incentive to put the seminars on the back burner and prolong them, maybe parlay them out until the later future and focus on my training camp. So it's super cool to have my attention focused as a professional athlete. Doing these big time events, and really happy for the advice Craig Jones gave me, not signing any exclusive deals. I almost signed one exclusive with Polaris, and it's only exclusive in London. I had to get it reworded, but yeah, these other organizations, these bigger ones, they want you in exclusive contracts, and that doesn't do us as athletes who are freelancers and 1099, doesn't do us any good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. And we're definitely good friends with the people over there at Polaris, but there are some other promotions that are definitely trying to lock people down. So, from your perspective, you've kind of experienced it even in the MMA world of having to then pay for injuries and different types of things. So, from your perspective and everything that you've learned about what's going on in the jiu-jitsu community in particular, what is your current stance on all?
Yeah, I definitely believe every athlete's situation is different. There's probably good contracts from these bigger organizations like One Grappling or the UFC that, I'm not going to speak on other athletes. It makes sense for them, or else they wouldn't do it. With that being said, an athlete like myself who flies around the jungle with the lions, tigers, bears, and gorillas, it would not make sense for me. It wouldn't be conducive to my career. And I've been pretty open about it. I've been pretty straightforward. Even before my MMA career, the little stint happened, backtrack to the wrestling. Um, I didn't like the whole idea of having to be underneath a larger entity's thumb, like they own wrestling or somebody owns grappling just because they're trying to be the ones that profit and monopoly the sport. Wrestling was here before USA Wrestling. It'll be here after USA Wrestling. There's beach, there's all this stuff. So they don't own the sport. Let's get that out there. Um, I think the athletes I've had years in this game, over 2 decades being just an athlete. I've got to see all ends of it. And guys like the CJI do it right. Like they pay the athletes, they put on a good show. You're not locked down to any kind. You can go compete before, during, after. There's they have their rule set, which obviously is great too. Because look at the UFC, grappling, just literally blatantly stealing the pit. I mean, people are doing right when they're swagger jacking. My buddy says imitation is the greatest form of flattery. So maybe that's it. We just got to imitate.
And I think you put it perfectly with every athlete situation is so different. And you're a great example for any wrestler that is trying to get into jujitsu as well. You're keeping the door open, especially with so much opportunity with flow wrestling, flow grappling. I saw that you even have an event coming up shortly on flow grappling here.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not sure if they're promoting me too heavily on it because of the cahoots with Flow Wrestling, and I don't know who owns what, but I'm pretty sure they're all in bed together. So that probably has a little sting for them that I keep lingering around. Yeah, I'm the main event. Hit combat next week. Excuse me. Yep, 2 weeks out in Washington, Spokane, Washington, with the Ron win. So yeah, I love competing. Guys in the wrestling world need to know that there's other outlets. If you're not ready to just consider yourself an athlete that pays to compete. There's other ways to get paid in this sport. So a lot of these athletes that are wrestling, they're not too well off, and it sucks because a lot of them are my good friends, and just financially, they're regular dudes that got to go work construction and whatnot, and you know it sucks to see because these are some of the best athletes in the world.
Yeah, it's definitely a big focus point getting guys paid, but it's awesome that you're going to be in pit fighting, going up against a former UFC Bellator middleweight. What is it about these MMA matchups that you like in the grappling sense? Is it the physicality? Is it the name that they
I
bring?
mean,
What is it that gets you to
I
sign on
don't
that
I
dotted
don't
line?
pick and choose. I really don't. I really don't. You put a name in front of me, I say yes. And I think it's the promoters that find these MMA guys, the ones that are trying to stand up after I take them down, and the ones that are trying to take me down, the ones that are going to actually go out there and fight me, like, and give me a scrap. Look at Petrosky, look at Weidman. These guys, look at Rockhold. These create fan-friendly matches. And they're fun for me. They get my attention. They get me out of bed, waking up, working out. They incentivize me to get my ass in shape and start focusing because it's no you know no shocking surprise that I have a life outside of grappling. So
Yes, we
anytime,
definitely know you have a
yeah,
life outside of grappling. Last time we did an interview, you were in the car just, completely chilling out on us.
yeah. I mean, there's Rasta Pat, there's Poker Pat, there's Family Pat. I have different versions of me, but anytime I get one of these big marquee matchups or a big event, you know, I refuse to go out there not prepared, not in shape, and not healthy. So when you book me, you're getting a good show.
Yeah, we can definitely always count on that. And we can also count on a good show from Gable Steveson and Craig Jones. As someone who's so involved in the wrestling community, what do you think is the perception of the wrestling community on this super fight?
Yeah, I mean, so I yeah, it's probably killing them. It's probably killing them because they want to see Gable in a singlet. They don't want to see him having fun doing the antics. They're so old school, and to my point, they have such a hold on wrestling that has the potential to transcend wrestling and get it on ESPN. This has the potential to go super viral, where it's not under USA Wrestling's thumb and Flow Wrestling's thumb. So that drives them mad because they can't profit off of Gable right now, which is he's not White Knight because he's not Kyle Snyder, but he's not Kyle Dake. He's not actually white, but he's an Olympic champ. He's he lost to Wyatt Hendrickson recently, upset NCAA finals. So and he's not wrestling currently, but I know it's killing him to lose a guy of that status and caliber, who, mind you, they're still paying out $250,000 salary from the Living the Dream Fund. They still got trickle down effect from his accolades. So he's forever uh, on their payroll. You know what I mean? So they want to keep guys like that under their thumb, just like they've done with Burroughs, just like they've done with Taylor, just like they've done with all their major superstars. Not me. They couldn't wait to get rid of me. But Kyle Snyder, I mean, he's out caught with his dick out having Diddy party, and he's out wrestling the Final X the next week. I tweeted something about girls wrestling, and I got a safe sports suspension. I had to beat a case for over a year before I was reinstated. By then, world team, everything I had worked my whole life to gain was already lost. So much time had passed by. So it's crazy to see the favoritisms played, but I know it's eating them up inside to lose a guy like Gable to the grappling world or to the WWE world or to the MMA world. It really does. So it's a shame that they're not going to do anything to change that because that would entail them not getting paid six-figure salaries and taking all their nice trips. All the bureaucrats at USA Wrestling, they they're profiting way too much from the system of how it is in order to have any reason to change it. So don't expect anything to change there. Um, but it's definitely killing them.
Yeah, and you touch a little bit on favoritism or maybe different standards when it comes to getting people into trouble. I saw one of the most viral moments that we had in jiu-jitsu was the IBJJF experience you've had. I know that IBJJF sometimes does some crazy things, but can you kind of walk through what exactly happened and where you're at with all of that now?
Sure. So I went to compete per my coach's advice, Monroe Hall. Thought it'd be great learning experience for me. I finally got promoted to my blue belt. IBJJF said I could go in their tournament as a blue belt. So I showed up, paid the entrance fee, got all the, tickets and flights and go there, dominate the tournament, don't concede a single point, um, win the finals against a tough Dagestan, Mutsulayev, and I submit him and I do a gesture afterwards that I learned from watching the Brazilians at the IBJJF. After they hit cool submissions, they do this, like to signal like over, epone. So I learned that studying for the tournament. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be sick. I'm going to hit this one in the finals after I kill this guy. And I go to the finals and I submit this guy. First person I've ever actually put to sleep. So happened to be in the finals of the IBJJF. So I celebrate. I'm like, yeah. And then they back to the hypocrisy of the tournament. All tournament. I'm trying to sit in Achilles Roche's corner. I can't stand in Achilles' corner and watch because I'm not a black belt or a coach. This Russian had 8 Russians in his corner. None of them were black belts or coaches. They all start badgering me and coming for me and antagonizing me after my victory, screaming stuff like, I'll get this Dagestan run. I'm like, you can't get a run. You can't get a Dagestan. You need a Hamzat, and Hamzat's Chechen. So I'm playing like psychological warfare because I know the inner workings of the mountain over there. They're very mad that I'm saying they need a Chechen to beat me because that's like saying you don't have a Dagestani to beat me. So I'm getting under their skin and they start losing their shit. And then the guy wakes up from me sleeping them and starts throwing hands. And I just kind of defend myself. I might have thrown a punch or two back. I was still messing with him too. I'm talking to him. I'm making sleep gestures. Like I'm happy. I won. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So then after the tournament, I'm kind of like mad about how the IBJJF handled it because they didn't give me my gold medal and they allowed this guy to they kept him on the mat. They allowed his team to badger me and antagonize me. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And of course they DQ'd us both, and then they give the Brazilian who I beat in the semis the gold medal. So a Brazilian ends up winning my bracket who I already beat, and I kind of go off on the internet. And the next day after going off on my Instagram, I'm like kind of like fuck this tournament. I ain't never paying to compete here again. Woo woo woo. They're hypocrites. Man, gonna pots calling the kettle black. I look around and every other Brazilian's doing this and they're making gestures and no ramifications, nothing. But Cracker Pats kicked the fuck out of the tournament. I go to get back in the next day to watch my coach, Monroe, in the Masters division. They're like, nah, you can't come back in. And then like 6 to 8 weeks later in an email, like after it's dead, after I'm like, yo, I'm never even competing here. They're like, you're banned for 5 years. I get this long, detailed message. And, the same way I would have from like a USA Wrestling or a Safe Sport. So from the IBJJF, I can't go to any of their events. Not that I would again, but yeah, kind of funny.
Yeah, well, PD3 likes to get paid and paid well. So CJI is a good option for you. And there's a lot of team announcements that have been made. One of them is Daisy Fresh, which is a predominantly wrestling heavy team. Are you kind of excited to potentially match up with them, or is there other teams that you hope that you guys match up against?
Super excited for that. That's probably the couple of the most enticing matchups there with Pixley and Brandon. What's his last name?
Reed.
Reed. Very tough. Very tough. So I'm super excited for other matchups too. But that team in particular, to your point, the wrestling heavy guys, that's gonna be a fan friendly match. Just like I thought Pixley and Nicky Rod at the UFC was pretty fun match to watch. And was surprised to see, this grappling, you'll see guys get out wrestled that might have better wrestling pedigree. So I'm really excited to show my evolution since the last CJI. And I think that'd be a perfect team to show my gains against, because you'll see I'm not just a wrestler anymore.
Is there anyone else that you want to match up against?
I have to get more intimate with who's all in the bracket, but I know the guy at Atos, they have some good guys. I know B Team's got some good guys. Um, I know New Wave, it's got some good guys. So yeah, I can't really think of a team that has any bums. So with that being said, every damn match should be enticing. I gotta be ready for a lot of different styles. That's it's one of the funnest parts of this game is making strategies, creating strategies per your opponent. Matchups make matches. Um, yeah, I'm super excited just to hear our full team and see what our strategy is and, kind of the game plan for all these different opponents. And yeah, keep the matches where I'm strong, avoid the leg lockers too much, if I have to sprawl heavy and kind of cross face and frame out because I'm not willing to get as involved in some of these leg entanglements with these best guys. You see it's like a double leg happening in wrestling. The best double legger is going to double the best double leg, wrestler. A leg locker is going to leg lock the best black belts. These guys leg lock each other. So for me, there's obviously strategy with going against, some of these guys that are guard pulling heavy, leg lock heavy guys. That's all they're looking for, as opposed to the strategy with me versus like a Pixley or a Brandon Reed guy. You know what I'm saying? It's chess, though.
Yeah, there's definitely so many different ways that it can go, but guaranteed to bring the entertainment. I know you felt the entertainment in the building of the inaugural CJI. I'm very curious because I feel like you're one of the athletes that got the biggest profile growth. Do you have any estimation on how your profile grew from the inaugural CJI?
Oh yeah, I mean overnight I got like 10,000 followers almost. Like, is that what you're talking about? Clout
Yeah.
media? Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was telling my girl this. I was like, I could go win a world title, and the people that don't like me in wrestling, they're never going to like me. I might gain a few new fans, but I've been wrestling my whole life. So now I'm kind of infiltrating like a whole new fan base. And yeah, I definitely set it off at the first CJI. Let's try to trumpet at the next one. I got to hit 100K. I got to get 6 figures on the gram.
Yeah, we got to bring up that value across the board. I think this cast of athletes is definitely going to do that. Before I let you go, Pat, we do want to get you saying, I'm Pat Downey and I'm choosing CJI. And also, I'm
Say it
team.
again. You glitched out for a second.
We're going to need you. I sent it in the private chat too if you need to read it. But you basically say, I'm Pat Downey and I'm choosing CJI. So we can do that part first.
Okay. All right. You ready? Whenever I'm ready?
Get for it.
Let's get it. I'm Pat Downey. I'm choosing CJI.
And I'm Team America. I think I'm Team Misfits America, and we're the best team in the world.
Can I say the American Misfits?
Yeah, American Misfits.
Okay. Okay, yeah. I'm on Team American Misfits, and we're the best in the world.
Let's go. At PD3, August 30th and 31st. We cannot wait to see it in action. Pat, thank you so much for the time, and we'll see you in August.
Good chat with you, Alex. Thank you. See you soon.